Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 6. Okay, well, almost everybody. Johnny is on the way. There was a slight bartender malfunction. We'll have our bartender robot soon. But to the rest of you and to our audience, hello and welcome. This is episode number 6 of Far Verona. I wanna first take a moment to apologize to JP for interrupting what seemed to be a pretty good Destiny bender. You know, I understand that it's hard sometimes to take a step back from the things that you love, and we'll be back to that regularly scheduled Destiny addiction anytime now. We're just going to play a role-playing game first. So thank you, JP, for putting the controller down, putting the keyboard away, and letting us do the thing. It's been a time for I think all of us except Mark. There's been a TwitchCon between the last time we played and now. So we'll start with Mark. While the rest of us were out in California having a good time, what have you been up to, Mark? What have you been doing?
Same thing I always do, Adam. Not very much.
Not too much at all.
Not too much at all. No, while you guys... Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses at the same time. They were disgusting. Just normal stuff, streaming, D&D stuff, making stupid Lord of the Rings audio. We're still doing that. We've been doing it a year now, and we're not very far. No, normal stuff. nothing too exciting. Playing games, writing D&D stuff, playing D&D stuff, playing a bit of Magic, and that's about it. I
sometimes feel like that when we're doing Court of Swords, and JP asks me like, "So, what have you been up to?" And I'm like, "Dude, you know it. I've been dungeon master shit. I've been like,
yeah,
it takes a lot of time."
People just have way more exciting lives than me. People do things like go to the movies or do cool events, and then I don't do those things.
I like how the pinnacle of excitement for you is going to a movie.
That honestly, no joke.
And in silence and not move.
Yeah,
I love going to movies though.
And that would absolutely be a highlight. No, the highlight for me this week was my 7-win draft arena Magic the Gathering arena run where I got 7 wins for the first time ever. Oh, wow. What excitement my life is.
That is exciting, Mark. You don't discount
winning 7 games in a row is a big deal.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
We're proud of you. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Is the mic working?
I don't know. It's I can hear your voice.
But does it sound like a microphone and not like a webcam?
Yeah.
No, it sounds good.
Yes, you're using the correct mic. Yeah.
You good, fam.
Yeah, buddy. Sorry about that.
White as a ghost, Elspeth.
Yes, yeah, your white balance is lovely.
No joke. My screen, my computer was like, "We're sorry." I'm like, "Not fucking now."
You're gonna be sorry.
Why would you do this to me? Let me just fix my shit real quick
hey,
here.
There you go. That's
Everybody, what's up?
You have features again.
Returns from the land of the dead.
I'm here. Where? All right. Hi.
We were just talking about how proud of Mark we are for winning a bunch of games of Magic and how exciting it is to go to the movies.
Thank you.
That's so.
So are you, Mark? Are you just playing? Are you just playing draft, or are you doing constructed too?
I can't do constructed because I am terrible at Magic. I don't know that much about it. And I played you a couple of times, Adam, and that was very much when I realized I was like, no, I shouldn't play constructed. I should just stick to draft where everybody's on my level. Huh?
You can just net deck though. Just find like a good deck online and copy pasta.
I don't want to do that, but then it's also like you gotta like play so much to get all the cards, and I'm just like, I just do my draft, and then everyone's on my level. They're brought down. The Supermen are brought down to my level, where they only have a set amount of cards to work with, and I can get really lucky, which is how I got my 7 wins, and that suits me just fine. I'm a simple man.
That makes sense. I mean, you can go on the internet and you can find a deck list and you can just copy paste and be like, I'm going to use this, but like, you still have to learn how to do it. You still have to know how all the cards work and make them work together. And
I'm such an idiot, and I forget stuff all the time. Like I forget to like even basic things like I'm gonna sacrifice this creature after it blocks. Like I'll just forget to do it because I'm an idiot. So like at least in draft, I have the chance of just being really lucky and getting good cards and then winning that way. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with it. I
Yeah,
just
as
want to
long
look
as you
at
get the
pretty cards.
wins.
Yeah, I just want to look at pretty cards and see cool abilities and cool lore, and then I'm happy.
You're describing a book. You want to read a book, is what you're saying.
I like those things too. I like comics, I like books, but Magic is like, not as good.
Well, that's good. What I have to check in because it's been a little while. How far into your Foley Lord of the Rings are you now?
Oh my god! So we made the decision.
The last
so the last bit we've done is we've just got to the Council of Elrond. Like we've done everything now up to the Council of Elrond, and we're just filling in little bits of scenes here and there. But the Yogscast does this Jingle Jam every December, which is a big charity month of raising money and charity streaming throughout December. And we've made the plan that we're going to have disc 1, which is up to the kind of like as they go over the mountain and the Foley ship properly starts. That's our point that we want to get it finished to. Like completely done, finished, not going to add anything else. And then we're going to do a screening as one of the like the charity events, and we'll do some fun stuff around that. But yeah, it's oh god, like it's been a slog, like a year to get. I have to say,
I did expect a little bit more progress when you were like, we got to the part where they're at the Council of Elrond. I'm like, oh, so the movie's just starting then. They're just now they know that the ring is bad. Okay, good.
You wouldn't believe like how like I think it was even me, like we were sat there filming stuff and I just like I think it was the last stream we did, I just went, hang on. We've still got so much left to do. We've got the Mines of Moria. That's not even the whole film. Like you've got so much still to do, and it's all really hard stuff. But yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny watching 3, idiots basically trying to figure out how to replicate. Arwen summoning the water horses to wipe away the Nazgul. Us trying to figure out how to do that. We ended up going into a bathroom and recording a toilet flushing, and then we've just layered it up with like mixing sounds and stuff like that to try and replicate it. And it's just us trying to figure dumb shit like that out. And then, like, often there's only 3 of us, so we voice all of the characters ourselves. So I ended up playing both Arwen and Aragorn. Forgot they had a romance scene in Fellowship of the Ring. Had to voice all of that, which was fun, including kissing sounds. Ugh, it's a mess. It's a mess. A terrible, horrible mess.
Nice.
We pretend you didn't know about the stream. Pretend you didn't know about it.
If you if you need like a guest horse lord, you need a bonus Rohirrim. My Tolkien's pretty good. I speak Tolkien pretty fluently, so
all right,
let me know.
Well, just so you know, we've replaced all of the Sindarin with Italian. They just
perfect.
Speaking Elvish. Yeah, they just pronounce Italian foods and Italian words. And that's our Elvish. So I got Elspeth good with that one. One day I'll send it to you guys so you can enjoy just the audio. So I'll just send you the lovely audio track and a timestamp so you too can enjoy the wonders of Fellowship of the Ring.
Boy.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
Like, stop making fun of me. We're done. Beautiful. Well, how was everybody's TwitchCon? Wheat, I know you had a thing or two to do.
I had a thing or two, but this was the first time in 6 years that I had a day off. It was quite fucking magical, to be honest with you. I had no idea. In fact, I even ran into you and Blue Jay a couple times during my time off. It was I mean, normally I feel like I'm kind of chained to the back of the stage. But this time we did a full-time workshop, did the opening ceremonies, and my Sunday was full. So Saturday I just got to chill, and I quite liked it. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. Definitely my favorite part of TwitchCon was getting to stealth partner Darker for Serenity on stage. That guy's awesome. It was
an excellent choice of person too, because I was watching that and I was like, I wonder what this would have been like if it were me. I probably just would have been like, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
But let's go. All right. Thanks, guys.
Nice little wave. And I have to tell a story though. So like, Darker for Serenity has this like Naruto theme that goes on. So when I was doing my rehearsals, obviously Darker for Serenity wasn't there, and he didn't even know. So he had like a stand-in, and that was Sully. If anyone knows Sully from Twitch, and I was like, so Sully, like to celebrate this, can you do your best Naruto run across the stage? And he did this like half-hearted run. I'm like, no, that's not how you do it. And I made him do full arms out. It was glorious. It wasn't on video, wasn't live or anything, but that was one of my other favorite moments. So yeah, I had a great time. But I have to also tell another story, not TwitchCon related, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
So like the other morning, I come out and Minnie's eating breakfast, and like he's watching a video, and all of a sudden I hear Adam's voice, and then I hear Steven's voice, and I hear my voice, and I'm like, what are you watching? He's like, oh, I'm watching Swan Song. And I'm like, no shit. Oh. And he's on like episode 8, which is like the even funnier part. I was like, so I heard something like, I think I was like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to Pi. I'm like, oh, we found Pi already. He's like, you got Pi in episode 2. Like that's when he's found the pizza party. And it's like, whoa, buddy. You're like, I didn't know you were the Swan Song expert now. But actually it's surprising because there's a lot of stuff like in my head that the time in which it happens is actually way different than when it actually does. So yeah, I mean, Minnie's a big role player, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because now we have a cat named Piani, and it's just like I have to understand everything about this. But yeah, it's
that's great. That's so good.
It's pretty great.
You know, though, you're leaning into this. There's going to be this moment where you're gonna come in, and Minnie's gonna be like role playing online with some friends and doing like a really bad Irish accent, and you're gonna be like, "What are you doing?" And he's gonna turn around and he's gonna be like, "I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from watching you." It's gonna be a whole thing. So
fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. I remember we did a one shot for charity way back when, and Minnie played a ranger. Do you remember this? Minnie played a ranger, and you played his animal companion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I remember that was the first time
great.
even I was surprised. He was like, so I'm gonna set this arrow on fire, and then and it's just like he was doing things. I was like, damn. But yeah, they play a lot. In fact,
nice.
I like, it seems like it's it's like picking up in the younger generation, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not just him at school that's into it, right? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. He's got like a little Discord group. They've got like 15 people, some of them local, some of them is just people he's met online. And like, they have games going that are not asynchronous, where they will just play like in a chat room and not sort of live in this way, but they will kind of like play in turn, and come back 2 hours later and then do what they're going to do. And I was just like, well, that's like kind of mind bending and awesome. I think it's badass.
Yeah. That's
so yeah,
very cool.
Minnie's, I don't know, but JP, if you're listening, like Minnie's ready. He's just like, is there any games coming up I can play in? So anyway.
Well, around the time, I figure around the time that Clark is old enough to play role playing games, and then Minnie will be an expert by then, and I'm sure some other people we know will have had kids. So yeah, there you go. We got it. We get the role play next generation. It's a franchise now.
It's a franchise. Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I love those stories when people they're talking about whether it's like friends or relatives or like whoever getting into role playing games and being like, this dumb thing that you did all the time, it's actually really cool. And you're like, yeah, I know. Yep. Welcome. Welcome to the club.
A lot of people are saying the play by post is common. And I got to be honest with you, like I had no idea. And I was like, I mean, I guess that makes a ton of sense. Even back in the old BBS days or even the Mud days,
Yeah.
like that would be a thing. But people are like, oh yeah, I play by post on Discord all the time. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the old sort of OG like war games that came before D&D, a lot of people would play by mail. And so they'd both have a copy of like Risk or the board or whatever. And they'd be like, all right, I move this guy here and this guy here. And then you write it down in your mail and you send it to somebody and you go back and forth until the game's over like 10 years later.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 years later.
Yeah, diplomacy by mail is... It's a whole thing. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's really cool. It's awesome seeing, and I think this is a thing that as like influencers, as people who play games and do shit we like on the internet, it's always really cool having somebody like check out the thing and be like, yeah, I learned because you were doing it and it seemed fun and now I'm doing it and it's super fun. I had somebody come to me at TwitchCon and I love this because they were like, yeah, I used to watch, you know, Swan Song and Mirror Shades, and you know, I've kind of fallen off. I haven't really had much time to watch the roleplay stuff. You know, I hope it's still going good. I've just been so busy with my own games, I kind of just don't have time to watch anybody else play. And I was like, yes, good. I thank you. I mean, watch if you can, but like you've ascended, you're doing the thing now. Yeah, that's always a good feeling.
Amazing.
Yeah, Elspeth, I ran into you briefly at TwitchCon. We passed briefly a few times. How was your time? Do you have a good one?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was exhausting. Honestly, I think it was probably one of the best TwitchCons in terms of just seeing so many people that I was like, yes, let's cross this off the list. Awesome. I got to see this person, but I didn't really get too much time to like, because I'm very like reflective. I like to sit down and do like some fucking like meditation shit at the end of every day. I didn't really get like a lot of time to do that. And TwitchCon, because it's always such like it's like a whirlwind of people and it's great, but I'm also like, I like to take it slowly. So sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. Like it was kind of overwhelming, but it was great. I got to go to a wedding actually of one of my very good streamer friends, Alaskan Savage, and Lady Sensei. They got married, and it was lovely. They had it at the Safari Park in San Diego, and many people went to the wrong one because there are two zoos. So they went to the other zoo, and so a lot of people were late. And John Sandman DM'd me and was like, I'm on my way. I see you all on the stream right now because they were live streaming it. So he was like in the Uber with his Uber driver watching them get married. So it was very, it was surreal because, you know, you have a chat that's watching people get married, and it was just like, this is so fucking 2019. Like, I love it. We're in the fucking future. Like, we're watching people getting married at a fucking zoo. It was great. So I think that was probably one of my favorite moments at this TwitchCon. It was good. It was really good. Good to see people. Good to see familiar faces and new friends and all that happy shit.
Yeah,
it was good.
I can only imagine what a strange experience it would be streaming your wedding because like
so good.
God love them, but chat loves to backseat. So like you're doing your vows and they're like shouting at you how you should declare your love for people. Like, no, wrong, dude, do it a different way. But at least, unlike most streams, they can spend the whole stream screaming to make them kiss, and then they do at the end. That's the rule. You have to. So there you go. You got what you want, chat.
Great. It was pretty great. I mean, I was looking at the chat, but everyone was strangely just on board with it. No one was like, I object or any bullshit. It was like everyone was just like, this is so heartwarming and we're so happy to be a part of this. Like Savage's chat is, you know, they're fucking meme lords, but at the same time, it was really nice to just see all these people like kind of come together for this wedding, like just for the internet. You know, it's nuts. And the fact that we were able to do that was very cool. So there was a lot of drinking involved. I drank a lot at TwitchCon. This is like my one time of the year where I'm just like, all right, I'm using up all my alcohol points because I really don't do that during the rest of the year. But this is the time for me to socialize and just, you know, get that all out of the way. Try and look good. You know, put on like deodorant and all that bullshit. So it was it was good. It was good to see people get some party on. Man, what else happened? I mean, I was there.
If you take nothing else away from Elspeth's comments, it's that conventions a great time to drink and wear deodorant.
That's what it is, dude. I mean, if you're down to like wear lots of deodorant, because oh my god, the tweets every year, it's just an influx of remember your deodorant, remember to shower. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to shower.
Hydrated.
In spite of all this, I'm going to talk very closely to people and ask very rude questions, and I'm just gonna be that. I'm gonna be that guy. It was so good. Yeah,
it's just every time you meet someone, just lick their hand. Just like, it's nice to meet you. Ah.
Yeah, I ran into Elspeth at a party, and the first thing she said to me was, "How much do you weigh?" And I was like, "This is so odd."
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, thank you, Vana, for not stabbing Elspeth. We need her for the show, so I appreciate that.
I was honored,
dude. Didn't get sick. That's one thing I didn't take away from TwitchCon. Did not get sick. I'm so surprised with the amount of people that I shook hands with and hugged and whatever, open mouth freaking kissed. I didn't open mouth kiss.
But I was gonna say that's a pretty loaded whatever, and then you just filled it in. So okay.
It was like I didn't get sick at all, and I'm still waiting for it. I'm like, oh, when's the shoe gonna drop? Like, when am I gonna get the fucking plague? But it hasn't happened, so I'm happy about that. Poor Hunter Wild.
Well, congratulations.
Apparently the whole weekend he was like at the wedding, and then he was like, guys, I'm sick, and he just said he didn't go to TwitchCon. He was there but he didn't go, so I'm just like, that's okay. I still would have gone. Sorry everyone, I would have been patient zero. People were like, Elspeth, you're the carrier, you're the fucking carrier, dude. Like, that's why you're not sick. Sorry.
Gross humans.
Anyway,
yeah, well, thank you for being there and being disgusting for all of us. We appreciate it. That's good.
Bros. We all live so far away, so when you see people, I swear to God, it's like seeing mythical like legends. You know, you're just walking around, you're like, oh my God, there they are. You're like, I get to.
It is a little weird. Yeah, like I will say, like I think for most of us, we're pretty used to. Except for maybe Mark, who is afraid to leave the house. We're all pretty used to that weird disconnect of like going to a con and seeing someone and being like, "Oh, you're like a real person with like legs and stuff." I've done it like a ton of times. I've been doing it for ages, and like Wheat, for example, like Marcus and I run into each other at cons all the time, and every time I'm still like, "Oh yeah, look at you with your being a person. You're like real and stuff." It's very cool. I hope that excitement never goes away. I hope I never be like, "Oh, you again." Great.
Wow.
Vana is like, she has like just this air of like cool. And I'm like, whoa, like so much big dick energy, dude. It's crazy. Like when I saw you at the main menu party, I was like, oh,
me? Are you talking about me? What are you talking about?
I was like, what?
I'm gonna try not to be weird about it because I'm probably gonna be weird about it. Because girl, you look fly as fuck. I was just like,
what? Oh my goodness.
Straight up. If you ever get the pleasure to meet Vana, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. She's just got this aura of just whoa.
I feel like, Elspeth, if we let you continue, this is just going to turn into another wedding on stream. So, Vana, how was your TwitchCon?
I'll shut up now.
Well, I got to meet Elspeth, so it was the best. It was the best TwitchCon ever. Was the best. I'm sad we didn't get to talk more. I feel like that party was so crazy. There were so many people there that I was like, oh my God, Elspeth. And then we talked for like 2 seconds and then we both flew into the night. I don't we both flew away.
It was
sounds like conventions.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was good. It was like my first TwitchCon where I was like boss mode, like had fully booked every single day. That was like the first time.
I definitely saw you doing things more than I saw you like just casually in person. I'd walk by a stage and be like, hey, I know you.
Hello. Yeah, I think I only properly said hi to you like once. So
once, yeah.
And I interrupted you in the pretzel line. So I was like, I'm so sorry to interrupt this
line.
Oh wait, that's time in your life.
Thing there.
Yeah.
Like, why are they pumping out cinnamon smells? The pretzels. I didn't get one. but I was like, they have an Auntie Anne's booth here.
Right. They had like 10.
What happened there was you said the word pretzels, and Elspeth got very distracted and started talking about pretzels, which is fair.
Sorry.
That's very legit. So yeah, it was just like a lot of streams and a lot of like stage time, and which was really great, but it was just like super overwhelming and super exhausting, and I didn't get to like spend very much quality time with very many people, so that was a little unfortunate. But it was cool to feel like, oh, I'm doing this. Like this is my job. I've been doing it full time for 2 years now or something, but it's just like when you get fully booked on a con, I feel like that's when it kind of feels more tangible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
totally.
You're there in that space doing the things where it's like when you're full time at home, it's like, yeah, I'm full time, but I'm still just sitting in my computer chair and wearing my pajamas, and when I take breaks, I just cry into my dog's butts or something, like a
Cry
con feels
into dog.
different. Cry into dog. So it was cool. Yeah. A womance.
Good. I'm glad you had a good time. Yeah, Elspeth in chat just invented a new term, or maybe it's just one I've never heard before. A womance. I get it. That's good.
I actually thought of that. It probably exists, but I'm like, a womance. I mean,
yeah, I'm very proud of you. That's nice.
Thank you. I'm proud of it.
Well, I wanted to ask before we get started. I did want to ask you, how's your pirate thing going, Vana? I saw some good photos.
God. Yeah, thank you. Pirates of Salt Bay on Saving Throw show. It's so fun.
Fantastic name.
The photo shoot was like so good. I ordered like a tri-corner from the UK on Etsy, and the shoot went really well, and the pictures turned out great. And I think like that was like a great catalyst to just get really excited for it, because it's when you can kind of embody those characters in like a physical way. You're just like, oh no, we're heckin' pirates, y'all. Let's do it. Let's do this. But it's been super duper fun. I do a horrible Irish accent in it, so you'd love it, Adam.
Oh, good. Well, there you go. We have 2 of you, so that's nice. That's good. One of these days, we'll do a one shot, and I'll set it in Ireland, and we'll just make everyone. We'll get Scoots on it. Scoots has a terrible Irish accent. Yeah, and we'll get one real Irish person, and they'll just have to spend 4 hours wishing they were dead. That'll be All right, I'm gonna make a note. That's the plan.
Perfect.
There's a leprechaun one shot. I'm sorry, Sinead O'Connor. I'm sorry. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, that's cool. I'm glad. I saw the photos from the shoot, and they look like super fun. I tuned in to check it out, and it looked like you guys were having a blast. So
yeah, I think it's my first character pregnancy, so that's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just caught me a bit off guard. I wasn't expecting that to be what you said. Like,
I'm pretty sure my character's pregnant.
Oh, okay.
And is it just like a normal, like you're having a baby pregnancy, or is it like a weird, like demon ghost kind of thing?
No, we rolled for sex and it went very well. And I'm pretty sure I have twins.
Oh no.
Congratulations on becoming pregante.
My character historically has abandoned all her children, so we'll see how it goes. See if they make the cut to stick around. Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, there's no chance of that happening on this show, because most of you are a bunch of robots, and then the only person who might get pregnant is such a huge nerd that no one would ever want to have sex with her. So we're good.
Yep.
Problem solved.
That is so rude.
Thank the Messiah.
There's plenty of people that want to.
Okay, to be fair, she is a noble, and nobles don't have sex for pleasure. They do it to make babies so they can continue their tyrannical lineage. So that's okay, fair. But
maybe
honestly,
like a side effect of MES that I can't. MES side effect? No.
You know what? Don't worry about it. Nobody. You're politically, you're a ruined woman. No one's gonna want to marry you anyway. So you're fine. It's okay.
A-okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could like marry into a corporation or something if you wanted to, but that's
yeah, you
fine.
could have sex with Chester Cheeto. Oh, is that what you meant?
Why am I not a part of this campaign?
All right, let's all have an orgy with Chester Cheetos. I think.
With a corporate mascot. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Good.
that's what you meant.
We'll start
right?
making a list. Yeah.
Mark,
yeah,
are you
yeah.
okay?
I'm sure Acre has some great corporate mascots laying
Mark
around from the
died.
war that you could just
Can't handle the awkwardness.
I want a
So
Cheeto
why
in
is it
my
Vana always gets
yesterday.
me?
Yeah, I mean, because this is Vana. We're what six episodes in now. This is how it goes. So we're gonna
episode 6
normally
Vana.
this would be the part where we do a recap, but both JP and I dropped the ball on recording one. So we'll talk a little bit about what happened last time just to get everybody caught up, but I don't have like a cool movie voice guy version of this. So what I remember from last time, and I have the notes so I can kind of confirm, but what I remember from last time was mainly that like a kid got pushed in the water, which was fun. That was good. You're gonna steal a boat. We had a conversation about how swans are Nazis. I think that happened, and then there was like a very touching moment where you rescued a toaster from some very mean children, and so you're all about to. There's like I think they've spotted you, and they're like trying to like make their way through the crowd toward you because of the big scene that had happened. But the Crux have some troops in the marina, and they are on their way to come and get you. And I believe the plan was to hijack the water taxi as it was arriving.
I thought we were just taking the water taxi because it's going where we
I
wanted
thought
to
we were
go.
just hopping on it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the thing.
Hijacking is a very specific word that I don't think anybody else mentioned, Adam.
So I'm putting it up as an option simply because the water taxi, I guess if the plan is to get on and try to just blend in, that is an option for sure. But the thing about these water taxis is they operate at a very low speed so as to remain safe. So if you want to get on and take the slow train to the port, you're welcome to. But like the Crux could just walk alongside it and keep pace. So it'll be up to you if whether you want to try to hide on the taxi or not. But there's a kid and his mom was yelling at you, and I think that's probably what happens when we fade back in, right? Is that the taxi is arriving, and Yasna, you were pretending to be Haley's mom, I think was the situation there to try to get Karen to shut up about getting this kid shoved in the water. So when we
really
fade back in,
it was very convincing, didn't we?
Yes, it was. Yeah, she believes it, right? She's still pissed because you shoved her kid in the water, but
I didn't. It was an accident. Shove is such a strong word.
Yeah, I mean, she's a protective,
nuanced motion of treachery. Okay.
Unlike Autumn, this lady does have a husband and children, and she's very protective of them. So if you want to argue that with her, you're welcome to. But yeah, Yasna, you managed to keep the situation from becoming like, I'm going to go and get a security officer and we're going to talk about it with them. So she's just like annoyed. And I think probably that tension like has faded in the sense that the mom, when we fade in, she's turned to pay attention to the kid, and the kid is making like a big whiny like mess of the thing, right? So the kid is soaked and like lost their balloon and is just like whining and crying, and the mom is now focused on her. So the group of you see this taxi, and they're automated, right? There's nobody actually piloting the taxi. It's like a little like a skiff basically with benches on either side, and probably a central like a hologram hub where you can get tourist information about the city, and it plays Prism ads and what have you as soon as you get on. So it arrives and unloads a couple of passengers who move awkwardly around you, like, okay, there's something going on the dock, but we don't want to be a part of it. And so they kind of like go about their business. If you could fit probably like, I don't know, a dozen people on each one of these. And so the crowd is getting off, and then the other side of the marina, and maybe not clearly visible to you as characters, but to us as an audience, we see Arnahan and her goons on their way kind of towards you, right? This is that classic movie thing where we see like a nondescript extra point in your direction, like, I saw them over there. And then the officers are like, all right, let's go. And they start heading in that direction. So as the taxi arrives and begins unloading its passengers, what do you do?
Did we determine last time that we don't have, like, if we're underwater, we don't have to breathe?
I don't know that we determined that. I mean, you all have lungs and you need oxygen to make your brains work, except for Johnny. I don't think that Johnny is meant to be an aquatic entity. I think eventually eventually your seals will like rupture and you'll get fluid in your electronics. You don't want that. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, Yasna and Haley, you can definitely both hold your breath like longer than a person could, because your lungs are like normal human lungs, but better. But Haley, also yours are very small, so they can't actually hold that much oxygen. So, you'll do better than a human will, but it's not like you can walk along the bottom of the entire lake in stealth mode.
If we just held onto the bottom of the boat.
Oh, like barnacles. Right, you just cling to the bottom and okay. I mean, at this pace, probably not. You'd probably drown. Yeah.
What's the point? What's the point of being like this?
Is Padilla with us too?
You mean well, everybody's with you. Yeah, Hadil and
yes.
Yeah, Hadia's not here. She's in a different show. But yeah, Hadil and Hadil and Christine are both. Yes, they're both with you. If Johnny is around, Christine is also, right? Like you'll have to try. Speaking of barnacles, you'll have to try to get rid of her. Assume that she is attached to Johnny.
So hard, dude. Every episode, I'm like, right, how can I get rid of this bitch? But I don't know how to do it because Johnny's like a filter that's keeping him like, her guardian, instead of being like, okay, just away, wench. I don't know.
Away. I don't think Johnny's tried that, to be fair.
Oh, that's not. And I'm pretty sure.
Wait, hold on. She's a synth, so does that make her a thought bot? And if so, can you ask her questions about the old internet? Yeah. So she's. It's okay. You're all too young to understand that joke, but I saw Wheat get pained by it, and Chad understands. So she's attached to you. She needs you to protect her. So just assume that she's around. And yeah, Hadil gives you anytime you look at Hadil with a look of like, is this gonna get serious? Like, what's going on? You can see her. She's a taut wire. She is ready to go into violence mode pretty much anytime you need her to, but she otherwise is just kind of like following along and keeping an eye on things.
And if we just get on this water taxi, it's just gonna take us up river to where we need to go. Basically,
yes.
Like
it'll travel northwest towards the port. I believe that this one is intended to dock in the factory collective, which is sector 3 over here, and then you can make your way through on foot.
Well, I just say we get on and and go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the festival is still kind of like a bunch of chaos, right? Like they don't know exactly where we are.
Well, and this is the thing: is the festival, the marina, like welcome House Eridanis festival, it's going on in full swing, right? It's good. It's not chaos in the sense that like nobody's running around screaming. They don't know like, oh no, there's synths among us. They just there's just a lot of people and noise, right? So it's helping keep you
festival chaos.
Yeah, regular festival type chaos.
I feel like we would be able to, what's the right word? Not infiltrate. We'd be able to get on the boat pretty easily amidst all this chaos. Maybe we could.
Oh yeah. And in fact, there are other people who like want to get on the boat too, right? Where they're just like, like if you don't get on, they're gonna jostle around you, be like, excuse me, like I gotta get on this taxi. Like,
Yeah, no, we're
you know.
getting on the taxi. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so everybody
Is it
gets on the
driven by a
taxi.
person or is it all automated?
No, it's all automated. It just runs on a loop.
Okay.
So it's got, you know, proximity sensors and stuff like that, but it doesn't. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Cool.
So yeah, you the taxi arrives, everybody gets off. It plays a little chime to let you know that it's time for everybody to get on. The four of you get on the taxi, followed by your
tell us what that
followed by your
chime
friends.
sounds like, Adam?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make the chime sound.
You're,
You can imagine
you're
it.
fucking killing my immersion right now. And as the GM,
Yeah, I
demand
actually
you
I
come up with
refuse
the
to
chime.
play until you make the noise, honestly.
No,
Yeah.
not doing it. No.
Dang or
Yep.
like a friendly ding.
All right. Well, can you at least give us
it's
an
like
idea?
a
Is it like
slightly
jazzy
it's
or
a slightly
is it
like obnoxious, like it's trying to get your attention, like we have to leave, like it's the tonal equivalent of someone looking at you and tapping their watch. So it makes a sound. I see you pouting. It's not gonna happen. You can't manipulate me. I'm the game master. So everybody gets on. There's some other people that kind of nudge by. The family that was originally going to get on the the boat. They don't now. They see you get on the taxi and they're like, come on, we're going this other way. And like mom takes her damp kid, and they head off towards the concession. But yeah, a handful of other people get on. The thing is pretty full. The bars of the little side gate close, and some Prism ads begin to play, advertising some other events that are going on during this kind of Eridanus welcoming festival, and begins setting out. And of course, as it does, this is where we see the Crux officers. They reach the edge of the marina and they spot the taxi going. Now, if you want to, you can try to like hide out, right? Slump down in your seat or like get other people in the way so they don't recognize you. But they see the taxi leaving and they have a pretty good idea that you're headed that way. Unless you do something. Are you doing anything to like hide your exit or?
Okay, what if? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, the more inconspicuous we try to be, I feel like that's gonna be conspicuous. So if we're just like blending in,
we just need to make
religious,
cool, right?
religious people getting on a boat.
Yep.
Don't worry about us, you know. I'm rusty, but don't look too hard. Like I don't know. I like the blending in by just being acting natural.
But like also what if
Uh-huh.
so
Here we go. I love it. I know it.
Oh no. What if I just help speed the boat along by grabbing onto the bag and kicking my legs very fast?
I thought you were gonna say something like, "What if I push another child into the water? What if I just find another kid to just kick him into oblivion?
What if I push every child on this boat to their death?"
When you said to make the boat go really fast, I was at first I was like, oh, she's gonna try to hack it, but then I'm like, no,
Yeah.
this is gonna be like that cartoon duck that like gets on the back and
Flintstone
starts,
style.
like, yep.
Yeah. I mean, yes. So if you want the taxi to go faster, getting rid of some of the dead weight, which is to say the humans that are on the taxi, that would definitely help. You could also bypass its like security or whatever. But let me take a look and let me see. Hold on, I'll give you your points back. There we go. Let me roll and see if they spot you. I think there's a chance. You're not making any effort to hide specifically, but you're just blending in. So I'll just make a roll for them. Let's take a look. So you want some bad shapes on this one? Let's see how it goes. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they don't spot you, but I think maybe instead of seeing you directly, right, they come over and they look, and then the mom and her wet kid start talking to them, and she's not like, there are some illegal synthetics over there. she's like, there were some jerks and they pushed my kid in the water, and this is what they look like, and you should do a better job keeping security around here. I don't know. We came all the way out here from Hyra, and now, this planet's not as safe as everybody promised, and I would like to speak to your manager. And so her and Arnahan get kind of caught up. So they get delayed, so you get a chance to like get away for now on the taxi, but they'll have an advantage because they know they have a better idea of where you are and like what you look like, and so that'll happen. But you get out of this situation as it stands.
I rolled so good on that kid shove.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, yeah, you shoved the kid really hard.
No, I shoved it very nuancedly. Like it looked like an accident.
The roll you made was to overcome the strength of a child, and you did. And yes, the kid got shoved really bad. This kid's gonna have whiplash for the rest of his life.
Good.
On a flight, a gal opened up the thing to grab her luggage, and when she pulled her luggage out, it like had kind of fall, and it hit this woman on the head, and it probably hurt, but she turned around and she is like, "You fucking bitch," like as loud, and I believe this is Karen. Like if I was gonna, my brain is manifesting, so it doesn't matter. She was yelling at the woman who it was truly an accident. But this is Karen. Like I get it. Your role was great, but Karen's a bitch. Like she's gonna talk about this for the next 4 years.
Yeah, she will remember, because it's clear now that her and her family moved to Ukiah. They're part of the House Eridanis situation, and she expected it to be very different, and they were here to have a good time, and then some little shit shoved her kid in the lake. And it's not even about that. It's about how they let people get away with doing whatever they want, and like how the Empire used to be great. So yeah, you've ruined her day and maybe her whole life, but you've given her something to complain about, and she does so to the cops. So you sit in the taxi for a little while, right? It's a scenic trip. Every once in a while, the little taxi will like alert you to something to take a look at along the way. It goes into a great deal of explanation of kind of the buildings that are going up on either side of the lake, right? We're in here right now. So as you go through, there's a lot of basically Imperial propaganda about how like the rebuilding efforts on Tenya's have taken full swing, and how the House of Eridanis has arrived to make great changes amongst the people of Ukiah, and like basically all of this like stuff. And I wanna get, while this is happening, I want to get a reaction shot from Autumn. So like you're hearing this thing expound on the glories of your house. It's basically talking about how your family like owns the planet now and is going to make everybody happy and everything great.
So I think she's still very dazed, very tired, injured, probably just upset and just unsure what the hell's going on. But there is a sense of comfort in hearing House Eridanis. There is definitely not a sense that she is ashamed of her house, or that she is, Autumn's problems with the Empire do not rest necessarily with House Eridanis. There is still a small amount of almost pride in the idea of House Eridanis helping out these poor serfs. Because that's what her sister used to do. That's what she did before she was found out as a synth. She would help people, and she would use her knowledge of finance and money to kind of like build infrastructure and stuff. This is what she would have wanted. This is what her sister would have wanted to do.
Does anybody else notice? Does anybody else on the boat notice this? Like, because Autumn, you're seeing like literally like the things that they're saying
probably smile
aren't to you. Yeah, they're not to you coming across as bullshit, right? Because they're building new buildings and they're bringing money to this planet. They're fixing the problems of the past. But yeah, does anybody else on the taxi notice this look on Autumn's face?
We still don't know, right? The connection. So shit, I mean, I guess I would just mistake it for like a moment of reprieve, considering that everything that Autumn has been through. So I don't know that I would make the connection between an announcement and that without knowing that.
I would think maybe she was pissing herself, based on the state she's in.
Very, very specific, but sure.
These humans, they just don't have control of their bowels.
Wow.
I think Johnny would be preoccupied with Christine to really pay much attention.
Yeah, right. Like Christine is
Good old Christine.
never like satisfied with the degree of safety. So she's already borrowing tomorrow's worries, right? She's like talking to you about how like what are we gonna do when we get there, and like how do we know there's a ship waiting, and what if there's more officers there and the whole planet is just covered in nobles now and they're gonna recognize us. They saw us back at the park and we're screwed, Johnny. What are we gonna do? And it's never I or me. It's always we, as if you and her are one like unit now.
I feel like the further we get into this, the more chapters, Johnny is gonna like pay or hire Haley to just push Christine into the river and just watch it. Like that's not my problem.
Just say the word.
So Haley's just sharpening a knife. Like, good.
I do have a knife.
I knew that about you.
Someone needs to make the fan art of Haley as that like kid with a knife meme.
Yeah. Haley, what have you got there?
Burning building.
It's like Johnny yelling like, "What if you got there?"
No.
I like it.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So I like this little like we kind of the shot kind of like goes from one character to another, right? We start with Autumn, and we get that context of Autumn hearing the message, and then we pan over to Yasna, who's like looking at Autumn, and then over to Johnny and Christine, and then to Haley, and we kind of like get the look at everybody in the taxi as it just kind of putters along quietly. And I think across from you, there are a group of people that are they're coming home from the like Marina Festival, and they kind of have that like tired but like happy look to them, and it's an odd juxtaposition for you because you're sitting this close to other human beings and they don't know who you are or what you are. They're not looking at you like you're horrifying aliens. They're just kind of like peaceably enjoying the space, and they're like looking around and maybe like talking quietly to each other. I don't know. I guess Johnny, you probably get some looks, like weird. It's like seeing somebody on the bus with like a typewriter. You're like, what? Okay, all right. Yeah, like what are you doing? Okay, but whatever. But for the most part, people are just politely kind of minding their business, and and it takes enough time that if people have strain still, you can make a roll on this little brief sea cruise to recover some. I know for you, Autumn, that's a big deal. So you have a minute to just like calm down. I think it's a cool roll, and every success earns you back a strain. So if everybody wants to, let me make sure my pool is clear. If everybody wants to just make a roll with cool with no other dice in the pool, no difficulty or anything. If you have strain, if you don't have any strain, then don't worry about it.
And is it successes or advantage?
In this case, both. Right? Okay. Because advantage can earn you strain back, so it kind of works the same way. There you go. Look at that. So everybody recovers 4 except Yasna, who recovers 2. And
0, boys.
Yeah, you want to chill out a minute. So yeah, I think that as you're arriving at the other end, right? As you arrive in Sector 3, probably the day is coming to an end, right? Like the people are starting to leave the festival. The festival's daytime stuff is ending. And as you arrive in the culture and factory district, you arrive at a this is like a more of a nightlife kind of situation. Like as it's getting dark, the sort of street lights are coming on, and you can hear there's maybe a band playing somewhere in the distance, and the various sort of restaurants and bars and what have you of this place are starting to open. And the family gets off of the boat, and they leave. You do as well. And you walk out into this sector, and you can see if you look up in the twilight, if you look to the west, you can see the spires of the central spaceport like so close. Like you're just a district away. So you can see through the haze, you can see some ship traffic in the sky. There's this beautiful kind of tangerine glow of the sky itself, and then various blinking lights as you arrive. So all you have to do, he said optimistically, is get through this sector that you're in now to the spaceport, and then meet
That's
with
3 or
with your
2?
contact.
3.
So you're basically at the edge of 3 right here, and so you need to go.
I fucking love the aesthetic of spires in the fog on horizon. I love that so much.
Right. Yeah, and it's like it's the center of the city too, so it's not like a weird dystopic like fire spewing like these are essentially like docking spires, and it's quite tall, right? And then down below there's all these warehouses, and there's tiny little lights moving as shuttles go from the planet surface up to ships in orbit, and you can see it, and there's that moment, and the soundtrack would be there'd be like a major chord, right, where it'd be like hope, like you're almost there. And we see people coming and going, right? Laughing and smiling. And we've moved from the people that are around you are less like families with kids and more young couples out on a date. People, and these are all like, there were some people that obviously live in Tenias. There were serfs in that other crowd. This is like all nobles, or at least serfs that are rich enough that they can kind of like commingle with their new Eridanis overlords. And Autumn, as with before, every street, every lamppost hangs with the river sigil of the House of Eridanis. So what are you gonna do? Where to?
Well, do we know, is there like a path, a street sign? It's like this way to the spaceport, or
yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is go west. Yeah.
This way.
Great.
This way.
Okay.
Adam, I don't want to be a snitch. I just checked up the rules on recovering strain.
Yeah.
Technically, it can be cool or discipline.
Okay, and you want to roll your discipline instead?
It's also only successes recover strain. It's not like a normal social encounter roll. So
right, it's like a weird.
I'll leave it for now.
Okay,
I think for the future one.
All right, yeah. So we'll leave the results of that one for the time being. But thank you for checking that for me.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. We got the rules right. That's how it works. Okay.
To my detriment, yes.
So you just want to head down the street, head in that direction.
I think maybe we want to be more on guard. So I would probably take the lead and have Fadil take the rear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So maybe there's not even words, but like a couple of like hand signals that are thrown out, and Fadil knows.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it occurs to the group of you that you are, you stand out, right? Everyone around here is wearing like nice clothes, and they have like fancy jewelry and, etc. And you're all wearing like basically burlap sacks, and carrying like rucksacks with you. You look like pretty ramshackle. I think maybe you get some looks, right? You get some like, what are they doing here?
Just so I'm clear, how do the other people in burlap sacks like make it to the spaceport? Do they go?
Yeah,
through
I mean, you're not.
district?
It's not like you're not allowed, but like you stand out a little bit. Yeah, okay. You wouldn't go. You wouldn't necessarily. You don't belong in this neighborhood.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm guessing, Adam, that it's the pilgrim's robes I've got just over my like lab coat and stuff that I had before, because like I had like
that's what I figured.
Basically clothes on before.
Yeah, and so it does occur to you that you can blend in more easily, but
well, also like maybe then it would legitimize the other people around me, like if they saw like an Eridanis noble to their eyes, if they don't know me. Maybe like I'm leading these pilgrims somewhere, or like they're with me for something, or something like that.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to just duck into?
I think I would put the idea to Yasna, who is the more tactical and aware one. I'd probably kind of like tap Yasna on the soldier and just be like, Yasna, I know we're attracting a lot of attention here, but well, I mean, and then I'll kind of lean in and just say like, I think what I was wearing before would help us blend in a little bit more here.
Would I even know that it was the same? Like,
Yeah,
as in,
probably.
so I mean, like
Maybe if you
that,
stop to think about it, you might like see similar clothing from like any sort of like scholars
or
or
the
like doctors.
sigil, right? Like, there's
The river
probably a
sigil would
sigil
definitely be on it.
on your.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, but maybe
um,
like not obvious at first. So
sure. Um, yeah, I think uh, Yasna agrees, and she looks over and Zen strip.
all right. Well, I just take the sack off.
Like, oh God, you made it weird.
Like,
Okay, yeah. So you take off your
yeah, I'll like step over
pilgrim's
to the side and
robes.
take off the pilgrim stuff. Maybe put
Mhm.
it in a bag. And then I'll look to Johnny, say, Johnny, I'm really sorry. It might seem a bit strange if I'm carrying my own bags. Are you okay to carry mine for a little bit?
Sure. I mean, yeah, go ahead. Here.
It wouldn't be. I don't think it. I think it might just raise some eyebrows if I was carrying my own bags.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. I'll carry your bags for you. That's fine. And inside, Johnny's like,
Oh,
Noble raising. I don't know any better.
Listen, maybe we could just pretend like I'm oppressing you. Maybe just pretend.
I don't. Who else am I going to ask? Not Haley. She's a little kid. Okay, yes, I could ask Yasna or
Also, I
Hideo
wouldn't
or
do it.
Catherine.
You jerk.
So Autumn,
But
you
I'm
hand
forcing
your
them.
bags to Johnny and Johnny. You I think as soon as Autumn is like turned around to talk to Yasna again or something, Christine says to you, she's like, you shouldn't let her treat you like that.
treat me like what?
Well, make you carry her things just because she's human and you're.
Do I hear her
not.
say that? Or is this like whispered?
She's saying it real quiet, like, yeah. You can
Okay,
make a
okay.
roll if you want to try to hear it, but yeah, she's just whispering to Johnny, like, you don't need to.
Not a big deal, honestly. I can handle it. She's frail. She might fall down. So I'll carry the stuff for her.
Oh, the
Can you-
disguise. I had no problem carrying it until now. It's part of the ruse.
Johnny, I need you to make a roll. I have a roll I need you to make here. Let me check something here. It's one difficulty. Make a perception roll with one purple die in your pool.
Perception with one purple die.
Yeah. You got a success.
Hey.
Okay. Christine doesn't say anything else, but when you're like, she's frail, and Christine just looks at Autumn and like furrows her brow slightly, and like you see the corner of her mouth like kind of curl up, where she's like, there's a moment there. Yeah. Yeah. And then she just like clings to you a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Autumn. You're in charge. It's you and the peasant brigade.
Well, I think I would.
Mm.
He doesn't think Autumn is necessarily frail. He's just saying that so kind of cover a little
Autumn
bit.
will remember that.
I'm go on. Nope.
I was gonna say, I feel like Haley's normal outfit probably would make sense too in this. Like if she were pretend to be
it'd
your
probably be a
daughter.
lot easier. Yeah, or like
Yeah.
a sister or something. And then at least it's not everybody's
Yeah,
pilgrims.
because it's pretty obvious Autumn hasn't had sex before. You're right. So the sister's better.
I mean, wow, cool. I'm gonna move next to Yana. Kind of on the idea of traveling with, a capable looking, a bunch of pilgrims, I guess.
So you go into the alley as pilgrims, but Autumn and Haley, you're gonna come out in your regular outfit.
Yeah. I'm gonna
And
change in a
then
trash
Johnny,
can.
Christine, Yasna, and Hadil are gonna be. So are you gonna separate a little bit, or are you gonna continue traveling together?
No, I think we need to definitely be traveling together.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah,
I think
seriously.
I have a vague idea of like a cover of why, I think like because these are pilgrims of I'm assuming the high church or a branch of the high church.
Yeah.
So the idea of like a noble maybe escorting them through the city and kind of talking about and like I think like if
Okay.
they get near to people, Autumn does the kind of classic like starts talking about like things that she knows Eridanus does, like talking about like, oh yes, and then we're gonna be looking into the infrastructure of the highways and rebuilding those, and like just generic kind of like noble house speech faff, um, as if explaining to these pilgrims like, oh, what we're gonna be doing here and why it's so great and why House Eridanus is cool.
Oh, so you're like taking them on a walk through this district and kind of like explaining, like, yeah, okay.
That's
So
the
you're
kind
just
of cover I'm
trying to
gonna
blend it
build
in.
with, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's see how well that goes. Let's see how much you can blend in here, Autumn. So you're gonna roll deception. And Haley, I guess everybody can kind of help. You're all working together, right? So who is your
Couldn't it-
primary
as
helper?
Adam,
You want to find somebody
sorry,
who has ranks in deception?
yeah. I do. Well, the other question I was going to ask is like, because is it still deception if like Autumn's using her knowledge because she is of House Eridanus and she would know? Could I maybe
Yeah.
like use leadership? Like she's trying to use that more as like a thing. I don't know. Maybe is that a stretch? Because it's not really
Let me
lying.
look at the description for leadership
Sure.
because
Sure, sure, sure.
leadership I think it's more
It's
like
probably,
tactical.
like- yeah. Okay, that's fine. I was just thinking because she's not really lying. Autumn's not very good at lying, but she is kind of good at not. She's not the worst at talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
She's got good charm, but she's
Um,
not very cunning. Is the main thing.
Yeah, I think
Or,
in
like,
this case it is
charm?
deception because you're trying to hide.
Okay. Okay.
Charm
Right.
is like talking your way out. I think the thing is like leadership and charm can help you if this doesn't work, right? If somebody gets like twigged to the fact that you don't belong here or something funny's going on.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So make a deception check. Haley, you have ranks in deception, right?
I have 2.
Ah, damn, such a good little liar. Okay.
I'm
All
so
right.
good. It's called acting. Okay.
It is, I know. Professional lying. All right, so for your role you'll get 1 upgrade.
Upgrade.
Because Haley is like acting like your kid or whatever, your little sister. What does that look like, Haley? Like, what is your when you go into because you this is a moment right where you get to act. So what does Haley's act look like? Like, what are you doing while Autumn is talking about the infrastructure and you're walking around in this like nightclub kind of district? It's like nightlife district.
I think
What do you?
she's like acting bored. Like she's like, when do we get to go home? Why are we doing this? Like, can't they show themselves around? I want to go play with my dolls.
Right. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. So she's acting like a spoiled kid of a noble. It's perfect. So yeah, so Autumn, you'll get that upgrade. And then yeah, how I guess for Johnny and Yasna, how are you helping with Autumn's illusion, if at all? Unless you want to do something else. Like Yasna, if you're like, yeah, that's fine, but I'm gonna like look out for threats, you could do that instead.
100%. That's what I would do. I'd
Okay.
just be the
All right.
silent joining, but perception is my focus.
Well,
Okay.
Maybe
Cool.
Kristen could be
Yeah.
useful for a change.
Christine hates her guts.
Johnny's
Johnny,
trying
what
to-
are you doing? Are you helping?
He's a subservient, potato like bot, basically. He'll play up that part because
Right.
if he's already been handed bags from on, it's okay. He realizes that this is the time to kind of try and just blend and be playing your part, playing a role, and he's got to deal with his toaster self again, and kind of he's wrestling with it, but he's like, I'll just carry these eggs and do whatever. But really, I mean, it makes it easier, right? It makes it easier on the group because he knows he's
Yeah.
he knows he's a toaster, so He'll do
Yeah,
it.
just keeping your head down, being a good butler. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
exactly.
Cool. Okay. So Autumn, throw another blue die in there.
Blue die.
And
Yep.
then
And then what?
yeah, and I think it's just regular difficulty. I think two perps. I'll probably do you.
Okay.
2 perks.
Let's see
Should I
how
roll
Autumn's
something?
lie goes. Yeah, nobody else has to roll. You've got an upgrade and a blue die, and then 2 purple in your pool, and then roll your deception there, Autumn.
Oh,
Whoa! It's
That-
so good. So many good
Wow.
shapes. Critically good
Couple of
shapes,
bad-
in fact.
what are you going to do with the threat? That's a very important question to me right now.
How much strain do you have right now?
I'm not going to tell you.
You gonna make me open your character sheet and look? Because I can do that.
No, just decide.
I mean,
I
I'm
have-
not
I have 5
gonna
available.
I'm not gonna knock you out. That'd be really silly.
I have 5
so,
available, so I can take 2 strain.
Okay. Well, let's have
Or
you
you
take
can-
1,
Okay. Then
and I'll carry a black die forward. Maybe you're like super focused on this, but
that sounds-
okay.
makes sense.
All right. But yeah, you got 3 successes, a 4th success from the triumph, and it's a triumph, so it's like extra good. So what? I'll let you decide. What is the it works. You get through the district without getting stopped or interrupted or bothered, and there's some like additional on top of that benefit. What do you think? What do you want it to be?
All right, okay. Hear me out on this. Could it be that maybe like I'm thinking like maybe like an automated car, like maybe it like it's like somebody sees us doing this tour, thinks that I'm somebody important, and so a car is like, hey, Lady Vasca, do you need a ride somewhere or something like that? Like it comes to like help escort us, like speed us along or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
Yeah.
that maybe, or some like an actual driver maybe, like an actual like somebody kind of comes along and is like, I don't know, basically helps us get to the spaceport quicker is what I'm thinking. Like whatever that, I'm trying to think of how to justify that triumph basically being we get to the spaceport faster than just walking through the district.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just
yeah. Okay.
we're left alone or something.
Yeah, I like the idea. Yeah, I like the idea that some kind of like vehicle comes in, like you can just take it. Basically, there's like a transport that comes and like you can just be like, all right, let's get in. Okay. Yeah.
I can
all
see
right,
you're up to
excellent. Yeah,
something important.
so you get a trip through this district, and it's smooth sailing. Nobody bothers you. You get to sit in a basically like a limo. Air conditioning, you get to watch the sunset from inside, all the lights on the window, and and it arrives at the entrance to the spaceport. And I think that when you get out, we see the spaceport of Yakia, and it's the big spaceport on the biggest city on this planet. And when you get out, we kind of like follow your view and then pan back to see the whole thing. And above you, it's dark now. Above you, there are all of the hundreds of blinking lights of shuttles moving amidst the spires, shuttles coming down from above. We see some of the larger ships. This whole place was built originally by the Acre Corporation. So the basis is very brutalist, right? There are these like massive concrete, like almost like bunkers, lots of big flat walls. Most of the buildings have like no windows, but it's clear that it's all been decorated to sort of welcome the empire. And in Eridanis, they have a lot of money, and while they're not like trilliant, they're not here to like show off. You can see that it has been at least the beginnings of a retrofit. And I think that there are holograms. There's like an AR layer holograms that get displayed over buildings that will be like the future of Tenya's spaceport, and it shows like this old brutalist tomb is going to be remade into a shining imperial structure. There's probably some kind of like celebratory hologram of the new emperor, and when you arrive, it has all of this vibe from a human perspective, all this vibe of like, we're bringing Yakia back into the empire. We're going to fix the problems of the past, and we're going to spend a shit ton of money doing it. But under that, both literally and figuratively, there is still a layer of like a danger, and there is like there's troops, right? There are Eridanis troops kind of like scattered throughout here, keeping an eye on things. And as you get out, the crowds of the spaceport almost immediately just kind of like are there to swallow you up as you get here. You do have on your tickets, you do have a like a particular dock, I guess, in the spaceport where you go. Yeah, it's not far, but you have to get through this crowd on your way. You also notice, I think, Yasna, because you were kind of like, okay, you guys do the cover, I'm going to keep an eye on things. This place is heavily surveilled. There are Prism like imaging cameras all over the place. And maybe when you get out, you haven't passed through the threshold into the thing proper, so you haven't been scanned yet, but that's definitely a risk.
Is this before or after that I get angry that we don't have TSA pre-check for this? Right?
Yeah,
no.
the thing is, the TSA pre-check equivalent requires that you be a human. So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
Wow.
you're not eligible for expedited. Yeah.
I mean, I it's an alarming amount enough to the point where I would like say something to everyone, you know, like be on your best behavior. They are watching and they are listening. And, you know, maybe I'm not necessarily pointing to the camera, but I'm sort of eyeballing them. Was there anything else I should be aware of, or weapon-wise, or anything like that? Because
yeah, do you want to make a kind of tactical assessment of the port?
yeah, and I also mean for us, right?
Yeah,
Because I
sure.
think we're packing as well, and you know, if we need to like toss some stuff in the trash before we go, like, yeah, but yeah, I think that would be
okay. Yeah, you roll, and then I'll answer questions you have about what would make this a safe trip through the port.
And what would I roll for this, you think?
Perception probably, unless there's like a specialized like tactics skill. I think it's perception.
Survival or perception, I guess.
I could also see leadership being an option because you're like trying to get a team through a dangerous like environment.
Okay.
Depends on the information you're looking for.
I'll go leadership.
Okay.
Yeah. What do I do for my bad dice?
Like for difficulty?
Yeah.
I think probably just none because you're not being opposed. So it's just how many successes you get. Right. Don't put anything in for difficulty. Just make
Here we go.
Ah, damn. There you go. All right. So 2 successes, an advantage, and you also have a triumph. So it's basically a crit. You have a great understanding. You can ask me pretty much anything you want to know, and I will let you know. So we get Yasna going into like tactical assessment mode, right? We see the port reflected in your eyes for a moment, and it's laid out before you to understand. So yeah, what do you want to know? You can ask me about its defenses, any weaknesses, etc.
So I think the absolute first thing I want to know is there anything that we might be carrying and or have on our person that would be an issue just to like get on a ship, right? Like I believe
no, not in terms of like this is the thing about weapons is like if you're a noble, you pretty much have carte blanche, especially if you're like a reticulum, to just carry weapons around like all you want, right? Like it's expected that nobles carry weapons because it's a, you know, but you know, you're not, right? Autumn can get away with more than you initially could, but it's not like they're going to have weapon scanners because everybody's got like a gun.
Okay.
And it's a dangerous planet, right? So people have personal like arms. Yeah, anything like big, like if you're carrying on like a flamethrower or had like a bandolier of grenades, that might like there might be like explosive like sniffers, but your guns, you're fine. Yeah, the stuff you're carrying around is you're safe.
Is there from this success, is there any way that I can literally map out like the smartest route to where we need to go, based off of what I see and where I see security?
I think once you get access to a map, which you don't currently have, once you get access to a map, then yes, absolutely, you'll be able to plot out like a safe route through here. You'll just have to get to a terminal, and the terminals are all inside the port.
Okay. And then are there like armed, I see, the cameras, the scanners, etc. What do I see in terms of like armed anything? Is security blending in just as much, or is it obvious like that's a dude that's gonna secure things?
There are port authority like officers, and they're all wearing uniforms, so you can see them. They're kind of like they've got the like little caps and then just like black. They don't have like body armor or anything. So there's officers, there's those guys, and then I think you spot a mixture of like private security, right? You maybe see like a deathless mercenary or two, or maybe like some House Aquila like troops, people's own personal entourage, and then the port does have its own security team, like its own security force, but they're not like out in force or anything. But maybe you spot one here and there, kind of like on the beat, and those guys do have like armor. They're House Eridanis troops rather than House Crux operators, so they're wearing like standard body armor and helmets. You see them around, so there's a heightened security here, certainly, but not as long as you're able to avoid being seen, you should be okay. But that'll be the problem of getting in through the scanner and stuff.
Right. Okay. So, sort of after this, I think I would turn to Haley and say, "Can you find us the map?"
I can try. Where do you think I should be looking for it?
Is there an information booth somewhere?
Oh, I thought you meant like a secret map.
I mean just a map of the spaceport. I think I
okay,
can. I think I can find a route if we can find a map.
Yeah, I'll go grab one.
She'll
Okay,
run off.
so Haley, you're gonna send Haley in by herself to just go and like hit up the nearest kiosk and download a.
I believe
map.
that Haley would be because no one's
Sure.
gonna suspect a little kid asking, "Can I have a map?"
I love maps.
Okay.
And then I think um, I maybe turn to Hadil and just kind of like debrief her on everything else that I've sort of like learned.
So you tell her, you give her your like tactical assessment, and she's nodding as you speak, and when you finish, she cocks her head slightly and like raises one eyebrow like a tiny bit in like a gesture of like impressive. And so maybe above and beyond all of your actual practical successes, impressing Hadil, that's the crit, that's the triumph, that she's like,
hell yeah,
nice work.
I'll take that.
And so Haley, you separate from the group, and you're just gonna like scamper into the port and try to find your all right. So you come in and you walk under the archway, and it scans you real quick. But I mean, these scanners can't tell if you're a synth or a person or whatever. Like, it's just scanning for like explosives or other contraband. So you slip into the crowd and you make your way over to a little terminal. It is too tall for you to reach the screen. So you have to kind of like get up on your like tippy toes to access it. And as you're doing that, you hear a voice. You hear a voice behind you. And he says, it's not a voice you've heard before. He says, are you here all by yourself?
No, I just came over here to get a map.
And yes, you turn to look, and there is a young, like maybe in his kind of mid-20s, an Eridanis noble. He's got like a sash like pinned at his waist. He's dressed very nicely. He has kind of like chin length curly black hair, and he's pretty handsome. He's a very handsome lad. He has a pistol on his hip. It looks very expensive, and and he kind of like is looking at you with like a little like, are you okay? Like, it's like he's got a look of concern on his face, and so you're like, I just came here to find a map, and he says, well, you shouldn't be running around the spaceport all by yourself. It's dangerous, you know.
Dangerous?
And he nods, and he says, there's all kinds of strangers around. Didn't your parents tell you to be careful around strangers?
You're a stranger. I shouldn't be talking to you.
And he smiles, and he says, he's like, you're a very smart little girl, aren't you? And he crouches down, and he puts his hand out. He takes he's wearing gloves, and he takes his glove off, and he puts his hand out. And he's got this big fat like gold ring with like an emerald on it. And he puts his hand out, and he says, my name's Hayden. What's your name?
Haley.
And do you shake his hand?
I think she gives a look that she considers it, but then like puts her hands behind her back.
Yeah, okay. And he says, well, nice to meet you, Haley. See, now we're not strangers. Your parents around here somewhere.
Yeah, they're waiting for me to bring back the map, so I should probably do that.
So I'm gonna, because this feels like an innately cruel move, I'm gonna give you my story point.
Okay.
Because while you're talking, there is, as I mentioned before, there are like ads, big hovering like prism ads. So behind you, he looks up at an ad, right? And behind you, there's a big, huge like hologram screen, and the ad says, tonight on Prism Classics, and we see Haley come skipping into frame, and there's like some old timey sounding music, and he looks up, and you don't see what he's looking at, but you watch his face go like, wait a second. And he turns and he looks at you, and that whole like act of like, oh, what a like innocent looking kid, I'm gonna take care of you and make sure you get back to your parents or whatever, turns into like, you are literally the devil. Like his eyes go a little bit wide, and he looks at you, and I think that shot of his face changing, that's the last shot before we go to break. And when we come back, we can find out what Haley is going to do about this situation.
Oh man. Oh wow.
So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the second half of today's episode of Far Verona.
Wow.